Okay, so what we are doing today is we're going over some feedback documents for Nimble. I've made it, been streaming for like an hour or so, and things are starting to get a little bit interesting. So I thought I'd record it for other people to see what's going on. So currently, what we're talking about is spamming the grapple action is OP. I don't think it is. Once we think about it, for the reason, and I'm open to feedback for the reason that grappling counts as an attack for rush attacks. So say you're at the beginning of your turn, you have your 3 actions, you're a Zephyr, right? You spend your first action trying to grapple, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Probably 75%, 80% chance that it works. And you grapple them. Or let's say it fails. Well, no problem. I'll try to grapple again. The next time, the next grapple that you make is going to be with disadvantage. Okay, so you can't spam it all that well. If you fail the first time and you roll a second time with disadvantage, um, you're probably going to fail. You're even more likely to fail. So it can't be spammed over and over and over again because it counts as an attack for rush attacks. And even if you're a Zephyr, your unarmed strikes are not subject to disadvantage. So grapple is not an unarmed strike. It is just like it counts as an attack for rush attacks. So you're trying to grab them, right? Um, so you can't spam it. That said, is it very good? It grants advantage to all heroes. Yes, so that is very good. It destroys enemy action economy in some classes. Not really. It destroys enemy action economy. I don't think so. So they can attempt to escape the grapple fairly easily if they wanted to. And certain classes like Zephyr are incentivized to keep grappling. They're not. They're not. So they do it. So the first one they have advantage because they have advantage of dex saves. The next one will be a straight roll. The next one will be rolling with disadvantage. But also they're spinning their actions doing this, and they have to be in melee next to the creature, and it has to be their size or smaller. And they're spinning an action to do that, so they're not attacking. And they can't have a two-handed weapon in their hands as well. So they have to have a hand free to do this. So they're giving up a lot of things in exchange for this powerful thing. So sometimes it is the best option, sometimes it's not. I've never seen cloth maps. Seems like they get dirty easy. Cloth map. So cloth map is like this is a good cloth map from the Moria campaign, and it's just like a cool, like it's like stitched at the edges, and like no, it wouldn't get dirty easily unless you're like using it as a tablecloth or as a bib or something. And this is a giant one. Ours is going to be like bigger than this. Whatever, I think A3 sized. And why isn't this updating? Did it? Okay, so if I shrink that page down, then it won't. So I'll drag it out there. Don't mistake it for a handkerchief. Then it'll be yeah. I mean, then you have to get vinyl books and vinyl everything. So I think this might be a user error in that if someone is grappling that much, maybe they've forgotten that it is subject to rush attacks and with disadvantage. Feels bad to make it auto-fail against legendary monsters. It doesn't, but most legendary monsters are either going to be one larger, and you just can't grapple something that's larger than you. Like you can climb on it, but you're not going to stop its movement. You won't give everybody else advantage. But if the boss has no way to get out of it, like someone ran an encounter with a lich that was constantly grappled. Let's go back here. So forced movement, incapacitation of the grappler, or destruction of the restraint can end it as well. So forced movement, like a lich can like teleport away. It can like push other creatures away. It has a lot of things other than using its muscles or speed, because liches are not strong nor fast, but they have spells that can push away. So every creature has a way to deal with it. And some better than others, but I don't think it's OP at all. I think if we're saying this, I think it is. I think it might be user error, and maybe we need to clarify what counting as an attack for rush. Maybe we need to clarify or remind or something about this, but I don't think it is OP if used according to the rules. Charisma has no associated mechanic. Why should non-charisma classes upgrade the stat instead of the others? So it does have some skills associated with it. So it's free skill points for influence and insight, which are two of the most important, at least potentially two of the most important skills. So insight is like, at least at my table, one of the most common skills ever used, in influence as well. So if you like either of those, then putting one of your secondary things into charisma, like if you're a berserker, for instance, strength and dex is your main one, so you don't have to sacrifice either of those to put a point into charisma, like int, whiz, or charisma. Like, yeah, go ahead and put it in one of these. That's fine. I know the biggest problem with in disadvantage on next grapple makes sense, but doesn't feel intuitive. Like you're reaching for someone and they're fast enough or strong enough to pull away. Well, then like you're reaching, like you're doing it faster. Like you're rushing. So like it makes sense. Like the first time you do something, like if you spend your whole attack, your whole turn like making one attack, you're more likely to hit. If you're swinging wildly and attacking 3 times, like one of those might hit, but you're not likely to hit with all 3 of those. So that's the idea. No, I meant reminding it. Biggest problem on disadvantage on next grapples makes sense, but doesn't feel intuitive. Oh yeah, I mean it's an attack, just like if you're casting a spell or doing something else, it's an attack. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we do need to remind. So back to charisma. So there is something in it for everybody, but you know, if some classes don't care about that or some characters don't care about it, I think that's okay. I think that is okay. Proposed solution: give charisma a bonus modifier while using the help action. I mean, it would depend. Like, I think that's already there. Like, if you're trying to help by like distracting by like shouting some insult, like I might tell you to make an influence check to see if the insult works. So it would, like, that would definitely help you if you have a -3 charisma and you shout an insult. Like, no, it's going to be like, you poopy head, you know, like an insult on that kind of level. Like, so charisma does already give a bonus to the help action if you're using charisma. Equals the number of creatures that you can help at the same time. I think this is already in there. I think this is already in there. Let's just, so I think that's okay. If there's anything else in discussion that I need to see, let me know. Oh, can you guys can see that, right? Yeah. So if there's anything else in the discussion that is pertinent, but I think charisma, I think that's okay. So some stats are going to be more or less useful to different characters, different players, but I think it does have all of this already. Propose int mechanics to replace attunement, +1 bonus skill point. That would be too good. I think that would be too good. +1 int, plus int skill points at character creation, +1 point every time. 1 second. Okay, I've got a tree guy at my house. I'll be right back. Okay, I think we're back. I think we're back. Get some trees chopped down. All right, so let's see what we missed. Step away. All right, didn't miss too much. Okay, so int skill points for int might be too much. So int already does a lot of stuff. It controls like spell scrolls. So it controls arcana, examination, and lore, which are all like all the skills are very important now, since like the mini like 20 or so from 5e have been reduced. But because arcana deals with like wands and spell scrolls, and that might be the only way for like some party to be able to do something. So int is quite good. Int is quite good. I think I'm okay with it. So it's less of a dump stat than in 5e, and just because it doesn't have like ultimate utility, I think that's okay. We don't need to add too much. The rules are missing a list with all the damage types. Remember, a reminder on the mages page would be useful. Do we need that? So yes, that is a thing, but do we need that? Maybe. Fire, ice, lightning, just reminder. Mini charisma argument. I came out of the thread. In before mages cast a spell with the ouch damage type. What? Hey, ouch is a legitimate damage type. So what is this? The problem with... Oh, there it is. The problem with charisma as is that a single PC can upgrade it and the rest of the party can ignore it. A single character and haul the inside influence checks the part and become the front man of the party. It could be, but like, say like you're dealing with a dwarf queen, and she only wants to talk to the dwarf berserker. Like, I will not speak. I don't know why she sounds like that. The dwarf king, I will only speak with a fellow dwarf. And like now all of a sudden, like, okay, so that's I think it's fine if like the hunter is like the guy who helps us not get lost. The berserker is the guy who kicks down the door. The bard is the one who is the face. And like usually that being the case is fine. And if it becomes a problem, the DM can always just say like, no, this NPC is talking to you and not to the face. So you can always do that. Yeah. This creature is alien to you. You as a human cannot make an insight check. Only your plasmoid friend, your oozling buddy, can make an insight check against this creature. Like that kind of thing. You are certainly allowed to do. Ouchie. Just remind you asked us to come up with some int uses. Yeah. I think it's okay. I think it's okay with where it is. Like if there was some like really cool like clean way to give it just a little boost of a utility that we came up with, like I would definitely not be opposed to that. But not seeing anything like that, like extra skill points, I don't think are necessary. And having we got to be really careful with extra skill points because they can do really cool things. So I think we have enough right there. Okay, fire, ice, lightning. Let's actually read how it does. It say any? Let's read what it says. What does the ability say? Change the damage type of a spell. Yeah, we have space to add a little list. Damage type of a spell: fire, ice, lightning, radiant. Maybe it could just be like to one of the following. So you can't change it to psychic damage because like psychic damage it ignores armor. Radiant, necrotic. Maybe we'll just do that. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think? Back to work. Hey, Twin Steel. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, so what if you can change the damage type of a spell to... What if we did that? Is that like elemental transmutation? Is that enough, or is that too much of a nerf? I think that might be okay. All right, let's check out the rest. Got that. Question/feedback header. Okay, when information is necessary, confusing. When information is necessary. Let's take a look at that. When information is necessary, or rather than just telling the heroes a bunch of lore or backstory information, you risk them tuning out. Instead, have everyone roll a skill check and reward the hero with the highest roll with the information. They are the ones who knew it. Okay, let's read the feedback. Well, now this is right now. It feels like it advises locking information behind a roll. No, everyone at the start of the session knows a rumor. Is this confusing to anybody else? You think that's okay? I don't think that's particularly confusing. The language is definitely casual. I use words like just and a bunch. Which may be okay. Was talking about the spellcaster. Oh, okay. What do you guys think about this? I think that's probably fine, but the capitalization could be fixed. When information is necessary, rather than monologuing. No. How much space do we have? We've got a little bit of space. I can cook a little bit. It's when info is necessary is confusing to me, at least. It's something I wouldn't do at my table. Rather than just telling the heroes, choose one hero who knows the information. For instance, the hunter knows about this forest. The mage knows what this Alternatively, have everyone roll a skill check and reward the hero with the highest roll with the information. They are the ones who knew it. So tell me if that makes a little bit more sense. So choose one hero who knows the information. For instance, the hunter knows about this forest. The mage knows what this arcane symbol means. This or the... Alternatively, have everyone roll a skill check and reward the hero with the highest roll with the information. They are the ones who knew it. Okay, better. Let's have the examples with the rest of the text. Okay, all right. I think that's better. Checo. Should the leaving the BBG at 1 hit point example and rolling open be removed? Let's see. Rolling open. Even if you're not cheating, perhaps, especially so, make sure play also feels to your party that everything is on the up, and up. What happens is what was supposed to happen. If they miss killing the bad guy by a single hit point, you're welcome to show the players a stat block and say, ooh, oh, sorry, almost got him. Or if they suddenly kill a bad guy that was proving to be exceptionally difficult with exact damage, again, show the stat block. Congratulations, good luck. Cheers will be had all around the table. Okay, so that is what it says. What is the feedback? Behind the screen, turning dramatic moment in game mechanics kills. It's just barely hanging on. Realize my immediate does nothing on during their turn. After revealing this information, yeah, the showing the stat block may not be um, so this kind of thing works great at my table, but I get that not every table might like that kind of thing. Makes it clear that info isn't gated by DC, so the rule is to get the best. Yeah. So lessening the emphasis on showing the stat block, I think it's a cool tool to have in your tool belt, in your pack if you want as a GM. Because a lot of times, like, I would rather show the mechanics to the players to gain their trust, rather than like, I feel like we didn't really earn this. I think he took it easy on us. Like, it's way more fun to say, look, there it is, 137 hit points. You guys did it exactly. Or he has 139 hit points. So we'll lessen the emphasis on showing the stat block, and maybe make it clear that that is sort of like an exception. You could even show the heroes. You could even show them the stat block. Yeah, players love to know that they won fairly. I think that's a little bit better. So maybe this could be here, and then this could be rather than let it let. So rather than be aggressive. So this could be maybe an inset note rather than like the main thing, just to show like, hey, this is an example. You don't have to do this. Yeah. For example, I think that's okay. Let the bad thing happen. If the heroes make bad decisions, telegraphed danger, and the heroes still make bad decisions. Let them suffer. Let them set the consequences of their choices. Heroes have plenty of options to get themselves out of sticky situations. Don't be afraid to keep attacking dying hero. They're still standing, is what a monster would do. Don't be afraid to let them fall down an endless pit. Leave it to the players to figure out how to save themselves, interpose, retreat, or something else. Cool. That's better. My general problem with the previous one was that it read as you stop the fight, show the stat block, so they see it only has one hit point. I don't have a problem with telling them you missed it by one if they do. But I feel like pausing the fight to show them. It's not pausing the fight. Like for me, I would just have my computer just turn around. One hit point, guys. Like in the middle of play. But yeah, I know I get that kind of thing wouldn't be for everybody. But I think these suggestions are definitely improvements. Add the GM is not the enemy. What? Ooh, yeah. I think I need to add a thing on telegraphing danger. Let's see. Let's add a note here. I don't know that I have that telegraphing danger. What was the other suggestion? Not the enemy. Yeah, I think we have that. Not the enemy. I think we have that already. What's metagaming? Maybe in the players, the core rules on metagaming. My A key is not working that good. Okay, I think we do have something on not the enemy. Let them do the thing. You're not the enemy. I could probably rephrase that a little bit. Yep. Dividing monster traits in minor / major ones. Some traits are way stronger than others. Doom / disgusting, mixing strong traits. Yeah, I think I'll leave that up to the GM. The difficulty is much more forgiving, and like you can change things with tactics and stuff. I'm not too worried about that. Maybe if there was if we ever end up doing like a monster manual type of thing, where we really go deep into that, and like each ability, like these abilities add like one additional level, this ability adds 2 levels, this ability doubles the level of the monster, that kind of thing. We could definitely do that. Well, now the GM knows they are not the enemy, but the players don't. Okay. Oh yeah. So maybe we could put it in both. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Okay, let's look at this. Go back here. Vicious trait in the monster builder doesn't explain what vicious does. I think vicious is just a trait that's described. It's just a word like defend or miss or crit. I think that's okay. But let's look at it just in case. Vicious on the monster builder. Crits are vicious. That is a common parlance, a common keyword. Half the dock is gone. What does that mean? Oh, the progress, yeah. This is an HP range instead of one fixed number in the stat blocks. Instead of having a monster die after losing H, it dies on the most dramatic moment inside their HP range. So I've not experienced battles dragging on for too long. So like in 5e, that could be a big problem. Because like there could just be turn after turn after turn of people missing, and like no progress being made. That's not a problem in Nimble. I'd be interested to hear whoever left this comment if they play tested Nimble or if they're just used to 5e. I think again this might be an artifact of the CR system in 5e being like a little bit loosey goosey. I think this is probably not needed. A GM is certainly free to do that, but if I was a player, if I as a player was like playing for a year or two, and then I finally take the turn at GMing, and I open up the GM book and I see these monster hit points that's like, oh, anywhere from 50 to 100 hit points. Like not that would necessarily be the range. I would feel cheated. I would feel like, yeah, I would feel personally cheated to know that like all of the things like if I find out like, oh, I beat my dad at basketball. Like, no, actually he let me win. Like I would feel cheated, you know. I left that entry only because hit point range is amazing. Yeah, like you're certainly free to do that, but I don't think that's a good idea to codify that. I think that would lead to too many feels bad. It's not the same as not tracking at all. Yeah. Yeah, like I have my players track the damage. Like I've got enough going on. Like you dealt 14 damage to that dude, like just write down 14 damage. They add it up and they tell me how much damage he's taken. And I say, oh, he's dead. So I don't want like the looking behind the screen, like looking behind the curtain, like the Wizard of Oz type of thing, to be like, oh, it's all just made up. Like no, I do want like hard solid rules that like the goblin has this many hit points, you know. And a GM's free to change that, but I want it to be, I want, just like we were talking about here, be honest and trustworthy. Like players love to know that they won fairly, rather than like, oh, you know, he really had like 7 more hit points, but like whatever. Like no, that's not fair. Like, oh, we're playing Monopoly. Oh, you rolled a 5, but you really needed a 6. Like that's close enough. Just go ahead. Then it's not really, yeah, it's not really. I think it lowers the fun for the players if they were to find that kind of thing out. But it is a handy tool, but I'd be careful about codifying that as a rule. Kobold examples encounter too high. Just making note, Kobold suggested encounters should be revisited. They seem to be much higher in power than they should be. Or let's take a look and let's think it through. 3 Kobold flunkies. 5 minutes. So a kobold is 1/3 and a goblin is 1/3. Oh, kobold and goblins are the same. Kobold, goblin minion 1/4. Yeah, probably. 4 minions. Yeah. So if you have a level 1 encounter, and there's 4 minions per hero. So like the heroes go first. Each hero, so if there's 4 minions per, each hero could take out like 3 of the 4 minions. So you could potentially be left with like 1 minion attacking. So yeah, I wouldn't go fewer than 4 minions. And then the flunkies, yeah, that feels about right. Yeah, that feels better. Level 1 is the only thing I would be concerned about. 6 kobolds. That feels about right. 4 sneaks. That feels about right. I'll do some more playtesting on it, of course. Like D&D left dice for the hit point range and put average normal play. Yeah. No, I get it. It's a personal thing. Like if I ever suspect that someone is letting me win, then I'm just not interested in playing anymore. If it's not honest. Encounter design. I think we fixed that already. I think we did move the things out of there that needed to be. Add non-damaging abilities for the solo monsters. Concerned it's hard to tune down solo monsters without making you feel like you're pulling punches. That is true. Adding non-damaging abilities that apply conditions and let players take a break for a turn. Yeah, that's not bad. Maybe it could be like just a legendary monster thing that all legendary monsters can do. Like each legendary monster can just impose fear. That kind of thing might be cool. So that we don't have to make the monster stat blocks. Ooh, I gotta fix that. Busier, but maybe we could do that. Where would we put that? I mean, here would be. Let's make this an inset note. Each lizard monster can also have the default that'd be cool, because it makes sense. Like the legendary monsters, like aren't they always like monologuing and causing fear, or sometimes they just roar? Turbo roar, creepy monologue. They're will save or frightened for 1 turn. Shove around. Toss. The movement one. How'd you feel about moving the adventure rewards section to after advanced GM tools? To me, they feel sandwiched between the bestiary and the adventure. It might be. Yeah, that does make sense. Good call. Like a lot of these suggestions, like they're obvious when someone says them, but someone has to say them for it to be obvious. Yep. Someone's got to say it. So Turbo Roar. So like a monster would say this, and like a boss would say this. Like a vampire would say this, and like some bestial thing would say this. Toss. Right. Toss around. Or to me, they feel I helped. Hey, looking forward to the big survey. What's the big survey? Or are you talking about if when I make a big feedback survey? Is that what you're talking about? Toss around. Force pull. Telekinetic shove. Something like that. Like you guys can reflavor it. I think these should probably be in the thing with it. Okay, I like that idea, and I think that's a pretty elegant way to handle it. Inset note B. There we go. I think that's a good way to handle it. Bold, bold, bold. I think that's a good way to handle it. There we go. We did it, everybody. If when you do Discord is only a sliver of the Nimble fans, yeah. So probably once everything gets to 1.8, or maybe just with 1.7, I'll do that. I'm not sure. I feel like I need to fix this this drop shadow. There we go. That's a little bit prettier. Okay, so additional optional actions. Optional additional actions. Optional additional actions. Additional optional actions. That sounds weird. Additional optional default actions. We'll just say optional actions. That's fine. I think this needs to be bold italic. Bold italic. So I don't remember seeing in the current damage is a blank check, aka let the player propose a solution to complete a check. Yeah, you could do that. That's in there. That's definitely in there. Yeah, the skills, it says like these are not all the skills. You can do whatever you want. These are just a good starting point. Not in the doc, but won't 2-page illustrations look bad in a printed book? Depends on the binding, guys. No, it's got Smith's own binding, so it opens up really nicely, like basically completely. It'll be similar to this, to where there's like absolutely minimal gutter. So I think it might be like a 2-page illustration in this book. Maybe not. Like look at this. Like you can see all the way to, you can even see the stitching here. Like it opens up like completely flat, which is what this is going to be. If it was a glued book like this print proof, like this glued book, when you open it up, like everything in here, like you can't really see, like you see how this text is too close to the spine, you can't really see it. This book is glue bound, and the pages actually turn around here. But for a different kind of book, like is this one? Like this one is stitched or sewn. You see how and it's a much larger book also, but like the spine bends to meet it. So this is, it's not the greatest example of it, but you get what I'm saying. Came with all hands, yeah. Yeah, the 2-page illustrations should be just fine. It's really just so that, like, otherwise we would have like just a bunch of blank space here. So we sort of flex how the images fit. Monster levels font is too small, bestiary. Let's take a look about that. I don't know about that. Yeah, it might be. Okay, all right. Maybe so. Maybe so. All right, just tweaking things, taking a look at it. We bump it up 1 point, and it would be just fine. Cobalt Trapper. It's a little bit better. I love the formatting behind the scenes, yeah. And maybe we can make it just a smidge darker. Character color. We'll make it black. I mean, making it all the way black isn't a bad idea. Yeah, that's fine. Making it black and 1 point bigger. It's all fascinating. It's a lot of work, man. It is a lot of work. But I'm very glad I'm doing it this way and not in Figma like I did for the other book, because that was a nightmare. An absolute nightmare. And for all of these, it's name level stats. So I think I need to move this to here. Come on, let me select it. All right. There we go. Cut that there. Paste that here. Scooch that where. Tighten that up a little bit. There we go. We're looking better now, guys. And girls. Guys and girls. Okay, so Sturge, that thing. Yeah. Might as well do them all. So just imagine this like 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times. Cut it there, paste it here, scooch it there. Notice Shadow Weird Wizard. Nimble looks so much better. I don't know. I kind of like the Shadow Weird Wizard too. It's not my kind of art style that I prefer, but it's got some cool stuff. It's definitely got some cool stuff. Yeah. I mean, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't be making it also, so. Group it. Scooch it. Bob it, twist it, group it, scooch it. Group it there. The thrilling, it's like watching paint dry, but more exciting. More exciting than paint drying. Come watch Evan lay out a book and move words around. All right, I think we're gonna go to the Beastmaster stuff because I gotta go in not too long. I've got a meeting coming up at 1. It wasn't bad, just flat to me. Yeah, okay. I feel like having smaller pages, like the smaller book, like constraints are a designer's best friend. Like if someone says like, well, design anything, well then like, well, what am I gonna do? But having constraints, it has to fit on like this size paper. It has to fit on this size paper and you know X, Y, and Z. Like and it has this constraint and that constraint. So here's another like full page spread of art. This is the cover and it has a cool cutout. So the more constraints you can impose upon yourself, a lot of times the stronger the design will be. So a book that is like much bigger, you just have more space to do things, so you're less constrained. So you know things get a little bit lazy. Not lazy, but like a little bit more loose. So things get a little bit more loose, and you know, we have space. We might as well add like 1,000 more words. And I find myself doing that as well. So like if I have I had this much space, so it's like, well, I'll add some words here, right? But here I didn't have any space, so there's no words. And a big part of the considerations if I'm doing something or not is like if I have the space to do it. If I don't have the space to do it, then I don't do it. Okay, so let's go back to the document. The levels are better. Better explanation of what a TPK is in release valve magic items. Okay, which are now up here. A total party kill, or when your entire party dies, is sometimes the right outcome. The heroes are playing fast and loose. The GM has telegraphed danger, and yet they forge ahead heedless. It's important to... Yep, there we go. And I do need to fix this because I did tweak the paragraphs to not have space in between. Now our paragraphs simply have indents to save space. First paragraph. And as I was looking at more books, I did learn that most books don't have additional space between the paragraphs. They use indentations. Morning, Chud. Nimble is probably the best RPG product I'll own in the near future. So much effort put into it, and by a single person. I mean, there's a lot of you guys here helping out. So I appreciate it. I really appreciate all the help. You guys are definitely not doing nothing. I'll tell you that much. I will definitely tell you that much. Those are fine. Okay, let's check out the next thing. Pocket Culture's ability was lost with the tooltip is replacing the description. So I don't know what that means. I read that before and I don't know what that means. A tooltip is replacing its description. Do you mean this? Like the Pocket Cauldron is... Do you mean right here? Some of us are doing nothing, just listen and join. Angela, I appreciate the presence and the encouragement. Snuzzy, it's head and shoulders above the other D&D alternatives you look at. What other D&D alternatives have you looked at? I'm curious. Gotcha, Emma. I thought since it was described already in this book that we didn't need it, but maybe we do. I mean, it's not going to take that much more space to just go ahead and describe it. Oh, and I've got some like I think 2 more pieces of art come in for this page. Ooh, and we do have the Gnatbane weapon. Does not miss small or smaller creatures on a 1. They may hate you for that. I think that kind of thing is pretty sweet. And I think we need to remove all of these requires attunement things. Ooh, and we can save space, guys. We could fit another item in here. Oh, look at all the items. Do we lose sound? Nope, my sound's working. My sound's working, I think. You guys tell me. No? Okay. I guess things more similar to D&D like Tales of the Valiant, DC 20 are things that are too old schooling. I guess Nimble has the exact level of ease and crunchiness I want. The books already look so good. Cool. Yeah, I don't know how much I like the old school stuff. I like a lot of the cool ideas of it and how light they are. But I don't know that I would have that much fun like playing something like OSR stuff or like Shadow Dark. Like it might be a ton of fun, but I don't know. I'd rather play, I don't know, Dungeon Crawl Classics. I've never played that one. I'd be down to play it if anybody wants to DM some of those games. Inset note. You guys, I hate it. I hate it when this happens. This thing is going to two rows or 2 columns now. What do we do? All right. I'm going to cut just the slightest amount of words, or maybe not. Yeah, I've got to cut just a little bit of words. Just, Evan, you gonna run some Nimble one-shots, right? Yeah, I'm planning on it. It might not be, like, super fun one-shots. It might just actually be, it might be, like, just, like, raw playtesting. Ooh, cool. I just got some updates from Indestructible about the adventure. Shouldn't the cauldron be a release valve item? It's a bit of both. It's definitely a bit of both. Oh, I pushed a button that I wasn't supposed to push. It's definitely a bit of both, but I think it's mostly a story item, and it has the option of being a release valve item. Okay, so we fixed that. Why is Lumina all walked out? What happened? Yeah, the one shots that I'm running. So it's gonna be to test the adventure to see like what are the fun parts or what are the not so fun parts. Yeah, for playing any. So if I do it, it's gonna probably be like super impromptu like this. I don't particularly like scheduling things. Just like while I'm looking at it, like we'll go ahead and do it. So like the first 3 people to hop in here and it'd be that kind of thing. But I might have some scheduled ones. Is there any conversation surrounding charisma? Yeah, we're recording now. I think charisma is in an okay spot. I think charisma is in an okay spot. You down? Maya, cool. I'm looking. So I'm looking for people who won't just say like, "Oh yeah, it's good. I liked it." I want them to say like, "Oh, this part wasn't that great. Like you could do better, Evan." That kind of stuff. Taryn Pounds, Indestructible, in one of his streams recently, he was talking about that kind of thing, like what makes good feedback, and he was super duper right about it. The Battle of Evermore, such a delightful mess. Cool. Yeah, so probably next week we're gonna be doing a bunch of playtesting next week. That is like my next week. We need to save just like the slightest amount of space without anybody noticing. Shh, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. We're not cheating. Why is this? How much more space do we need? Not a lot. So this is the typo that I make all the time. Something. Is it working, Chud? So like I know how to spell. I just my fingers won't type properly sometimes. Come on, just give me a little bit of space. Oh, my battery's dying. What did this look like before? It looked good before. I might just have to remove it again. Okay, so Grimoire of Truths was way over on that page. I see. I love what this guy says. The Grimoire of Truths is from one of my home campaigns. His name was Tubulux, and he got our boys into big trouble. It was a lot of fun. And I'm just gonna cut this. Just gonna cut that. Oop. Cut too much. Okay, we're getting there. We might need to cut one of his lines. I know which one I'd pick. Not spelling alcohol correctly makes it more fun. So I would spell Asia incorrectly. Template. Alcohol. It's just some of those words. I'll put D in words like that shouldn't be there, like pigeon and college sometimes, because it sounds like ledge has a D. Where is it? Yeah, so college and ledge, ledger, and it's pigeon, right? Yeah, there's no D in pigeon, but my brain like thinks. My brain thinks there's a D in those words. Hearing. What about the hearing? Hearing to hearing and jewelry to jewelry. So this is actually a hear ring. Okay, I'm gonna cut this one slightly. How are we looking? Oh, we're looking better. So we need to get it to here. Could probably cut this. And then just cutting words, guys. This is where a substantial amount of my time has gone. Trimming words, cheating on space, just ever so slightly. There we go. That might be too tight, but let's undo the last one. There we go. Yeah, we've got these weird sections still. We need to add some space here. Oh. All right, we're cutting the Battle of Evermore, guys. Sorry, we need the space for the grimoire. There we go. All right, now we had to do it. Sacrifices must be made. All right, Lumina, get up there. Well, now we can give him a little bit more space. Okay, Double King, drop 16 pages. Yeah, a lot. French, we stop asking those questions. There's too many of them. Josh starts with a D? No, it doesn't. Josh. I can hear it. Yeah, we're recording. Okay, so let's check this. We got that. A short introductory summary of the adventure for the GMs. Yes. That was something. That was something I was going to do. So that's the to-do list. Goblin from the Bestiary is missing the left hand. Yeah, that is temporary art. Griffin the Bestiary is covering the page number. The corner decoration visible behind it. Yeah, I'll fix that later probably. Safety tools. I don't think we're gonna have that or session 0. Like that's sort of like meta things that I don't think I'm going to include based on pacing. I don't think so. When to roll, when not to roll. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't uncheck them. Maybe I shouldn't check all of these. These are good ideas. when to roll, when not to roll, structuring adventures, what you showed off in the stream. Yeah, maybe. Guys, the GM guide is getting so big though. We're at 115 pages and we're not even done. That's a big chunkus. Okay, so something I am going to do. DK. Oh, I was wondering who's DK? Donkey Kong? That's Double K. Okay, so one thing that I did want to do on stream is cut some of this lore. So I think what we're going to do for the settings is we're going to have it just be a 2-page spread and then an adventure. So we're not going to do a 1.5-page spread. Like one of them might be a little bit extra long, but I think that's going to be it. Drop cap. Let's see. So the first thing I'm going to check is if I can squeeze any additional space out of what we have. So we go from the desert wind. So changing the line height doesn't give us much additional space. Yeah. It's getting big. We just want the book to cover as much. Yeah, especially in strips. Yeah. So I want to have, so for instance, like things I'm cutting, there are like 12 treasures, which I didn't even ask for from the writer, and most of them are like super OP legendary treasures. Hey Brandon, we were talking about Francine earlier. Her doppelganger Maia was here. Is she still here? You still here, Maia? She left, I think. She left indeed. Oh, you heard? Oh, you've been lurking, turkey lurking. That's cool. Oh, Maya told. Oh, I got you. So I don't know when that moved, but I hope it hasn't been too. What do you decide will be okay? Yeah, so I think I can cut a substantial number of these. So the secret plots are really important. So secret plots are important. Key locations can be probably cut down substantially. The encounters are mostly combat encounters, which, again, I didn't want. I wanted like cool, interesting things, but so a couple of the encounters might stay, and I think the adventure hook. So the treasures and encounters are going to be trimmed a good bit. Yeah, so if we have key locations, secret plots, like what's going on, I think they should all be the same order. As has been probably spoken about before, but is it worth having the GM section included in the core rules? The players go no further. No, I don't like that because the GM, the game master, and the players sharing the same book. That's not good. I think the GM information has to be secret in its own book. Like I get that a lot of books do that just because it's cheaper to print one book than to print 2 books of the same length. But I'm okay eating the cost and having 3 books, or having at least those 2 separate. In the future, would I have the core rules and the heroes together? Maybe, but like I would rather have a book. Let me see. Can you guys see what I'm saying? I would rather have a book. Face. There we go. I would rather like hand a book this. Okay, here's the core rules, rather than a book this size. Like combined, like this. Like it's not a big book. Like it's smaller than like if I handed a buddy of mine like Blaze in the Dark like a book this thick, even if the actual number of pages they have to read are like just a couple of pages, the chances of them reading it or wanting to play it go way down. So if I can say, here's the core rules, look at this, look how unscary this is, and even out of this, like you kind of only need to read like the first 10 pages. They're like, all right, I'll flip through it and check it out. So the lighter we can get, the smaller the ask, the better. So that's a huge reason if it needs to start a Patreon. Yeah, I don't know. So that's a big reason behind why this is 5e compatible, because a lot of people know it already. So like I could make a really cool RPG in like Elvish, right? But like getting people to learn Elvish, so to speak, in order to learn this RPG, is too much of an ask for most people. So having it in a language that people understand, English or 5e, makes it so that more people can play it more quickly. Also, I can be doing hero stuff. And yeah. So that's a big deal. So like, oh, I want to see what feature I get next level. I'm looking at the hero book. Someone else is looking up like some rule, like, and then I'm looking at the adventure. So like, it makes sense to me. Like, I want this to be a very practical product. So, can having it be one book be helpful sometimes? Yes, but I think more often than not, it's a drawback. Yeah, and like a huge portion of it was like being able to get like, I want to play like all these adventures over here. You guys, look at this. Like there, like this is full of adventures, and then up there's other things too. So, yeah, I mean, I want to like, yeah, like there's some really cool adventures. And not just 5e, like first party adventures or Wizards of the Coast ones, but like I've got like Tales of the Old Margrave that I want to play. That book right there. I've got Night Below. You know, there's some cool stuff. I've heard some really cool things about Shadow of the Demon Lord, Shadow of the Weird Wizard type of adventures. They're very similar to 5e, so they'd be trivial to use. So there's just a wealth of information. The adventure stretch goal was good, but also bad for us. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like it. I like it. Can we fund an expansion of more TTRGs? That's fine. Okay, let's get back to it. Loot tables. I don't think I'm gonna do loot tables. The monsters sort of have some of that already. So things I know I'm not going to include. Safety tools, that is so custom for each individual group. Like in my table, I've never had to even talk about any of that. Like that has never come up. Like we are like largely all Christians. Like we don't, like we all know each other. Like we don't have to deal with a lot of the weirdness. So it's never even come up. So like that would just be like a way, like when I get a book that starts talking about safety tools, I just flip right past it because it's not useful for me. But that said, are safety tools important sometimes? Sure, depending on the group. But also, are there lots of resources for that? Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of resources for that already. And you can find which resource suits your group. Session 0 guidance, maybe. Based on pacing, yeah, I think I had some of that and it was cut, but I'll maybe. When to roll, when natural, I think there's some of that already. Structuring adventures, yeah, maybe. Space, yeah. Expanding appendix of inspiration. Yeah. I'm planning on that. Philosophy of Nimble. I don't know that we need philosophy of Nimble. Modularity. What does this mean? What does that mean? Modularity. I'm not sure what that means. What does this mean? Like, can I take this part and that part and not that part? Yeah, sure. Edward will revise. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, can I just take this and not that for my 5e game? Yeah, like, yeah, of course. You could take Turtle Folk. You can take Oozlings. Do whatever you want. I don't know how much needs to be said about that or what needs to be said about that. Player focused over script focused. Yeah, I don't think. I think that kind of stuff is beyond the scope of this, and some of that is already handled in the like the 3GM rules. Yes and no, but I think we cover some of that. Creating counters for all 3 pillars. That would be considered in the adventure framework, adventure structure. And I'm going to choose adventure framework. I'll just change it to that. There's a magic items and gold over the levels. I think that was added again. That was added here in the core rules. Here, so typical costs and typically found around these levels. So that is, so like people aren't like, hey, I want my legendary weapon. You know, you're level 2 buster. Like you might, if you're lucky, you'll get an uncommon thing. A guide for suggested trap mechanics. I think a lot of these things are beyond this project. Things that I would love to do, and let me just take a screenshot of all this. Like those are things I would love to do, but beyond this project, I think. James Gunn's gonna be a chonker. It's gonna be a chonker, like compared to like the other two books, but it's still gonna be a svelte, thin, unscary thing. And most of it's art. Like the legendary monsters take up like tons of pages, just because their art is so cool. Their art is just like so spicy. Like look at these guys. Like how could we not feel? Like, I would feel bad about like putting these like into a tiny, like some of them are better than others, but like a lot of them it's really cool. Um, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Patreon is another thing I would need to keep track of, and I've already charged a lot of people a lot of money, so I don't think I'm going to be doing that anytime soon. But maybe in the future, like Mike Shea, he'll release like beta things to his patrons, and like MCDM. I'm patrons of MCDM and a few other guys. No, it's a joke. Yeah, no, I get it. Hey, Bruno, good to see you, man. So like maybe in the future, just to like get the first alpha things and ideas, and then like I think what Mike Shea does is he'll do that kind of thing, and then like once he has enough content, he'll put all that stuff together in a book and like add art and do cool things and that kind of stuff. So yeah, maybe in the future. But like once I've already asked for a lot of money, I think I don't need to be asking for any more money. I need to fulfill this project, and then once I've eaten the biscuit that I've got on my plate, then I can eat another biscuit. Some advice on what items streamline high-speed chase mechanics. Yeah, and kind of getting help. I think we have all of these things already. Maybe since this has been added, it has been much easier. So minions have levels, like a 1/4, that type of thing. Well, I appreciate it. Because the gym book also has lots of monsters adventures. It's like 3 books in one, yeah. Okay, yeah. After everything's done and shipped, I'd definitely consider that kind of thing. Tool system, not beyond the scope. So these are not bad ideas, and I hope we're keeping an archive. Are we keeping an archive of like the checked off things? I hope we are. Like these are not bad ideas, but some of these are just like beyond the scope. I need to be careful about scope creep because I want to ship this. Like I think it's pretty well confirmed. You guys are not getting the printed materials until Q1, just because December with the holidays, shipping is crazy. People are out of the office. If December was like a normal month, then we'd probably be on track. But probably because December is December, Q1 is probably going to be where you guys are going to be getting things. Character sheet. So I think we're good for the GM book and for the core rules. All right, so let's take a look at. I've got like another 15 minutes. I can hang out. At the end of the doc, I think a table for starting goals / items for higher levels would be pretty useful. What was that in response to? I think the idea for that one, so if you start at level 5. Yeah, so I did add that. So that was added. Where was that added? I think under... Where was that? I had it somewhere. I know I had it. Here. No? Where was it? I know I put it in here. Question mark. Did I? Oh, here it is. Equipment and money. So the new character sheet, this new page after character creation. So character creation, we have all the classes in just a brief description rather than a full spread with art and stuff. Just a brief description. Hunter, mage, like yeah, mage. I'll pick mage. Hunter, yeah. So like you can like I'll pick that. So we've got that. And then here we walk you through. So like rather than like add your skill points, see this page for skill points. No, like we just have skill points here. Pick your language. See this page for languages. No, like the languages are right here. So I think that's way better, way easier. Like, yeah. So, and then we have equipment and money. Heroes start level 1 with 2d4 times 10 gold GP to buy their start equipment. If starting at a higher level, multiply that by the level you are starting at. So if you actually played from levels 1 to 5, you would probably have way more money. But if you're just starting at level 5, then just multiply it times 5. So you'll be able to pick better equipment, but not like the best equipment. And it's simple and easy to do. Could you take a look at the tool system? It's pretty nimble. I can. So I've got a meeting at 1, but I can. It's probably gonna be like a short 15-minute meeting. So if you guys want to keep hanging out, I might just leave this running and just pause the recording and then unpause it after the meeting. You guys tell me. Let's look at the tool system. Tool. There it is. Link. If Evan made it this far, though, I'm sure. That's funny. That's funny. And if anybody, ooh, look at that font. That's nice. You should make it all caps though. Heavy italic all caps for that. That was Emma, not Edward. If you guys, if you guys can like keep a change log of the change that I've made, that would be super helpful for people to see. I know I'm asking a lot of you guys, but if we're doing it, if you're doing it already, someone watching the recording or someone who's been hanging out, if you guys can like just make the bullet points of like these are the things we've adjusted and changed, that would be super duper handy. Dear all, I hope you enjoy my video. Okay, edit, most reason. Here it is. Okay. So this was me showing one of the writers like this is an example of a perfect adventure. And if you guys don't know what it is by Skull Fungus. That is a worker's work. Worker's work, ruler's rule, I think. In my book, so this is for Mouse Ritter. In my book, this is as close to a perfect adventure that I've ever seen. This is as close to a perfect adventure as I've ever seen. It is just so cool. It is just so cool. So I had a writer have like set up like a pretty cool adventure. It was pretty cool, but I said here, if you want to see what I'm looking like exactly what I'm looking for, this kind of structure. Tools and trade. Created for Nimble v2. Cool. You can say Nimble if you want to. Tools. Gaining proficiency is easy to buy tools, but you don't. Man, this looks like I made it. Man, this is so cool, you guys. That's so sweet. Easy to buy tools, but if you don't know how to use them, they won't do any good. Gaining proficiency. Gaining proficiency could come from a class feature down to activity or the following optional roles. Using int. At character creation, and whenever you increase your intelligence, you have the option of gaining proficiency. Okay, so I would tweak this. So I'd probably cut that sentence, and I would change this. Whenever you could pick a language, you can pick a tool proficiency instead. I'll just say that. As background, your hard work, previous experience have taught you some things. You can gain proficiency in a tool instead of taking. Okay, yeah. So I would just change this. Whenever you could pick a language or a background feature, pick this instead. Or even instead of a stat increase, like, yeah, so here's how you can learn tool, that kind of thing. Back tools as a general set of tools, weight of 1. I wouldn't say weight of 1, maybe like takes up 1 inventory slot. As a general rule, comma, a set of tools costs 20 gold pieces and takes up 1 inventory slot. At your GM's discretion, little typo there. I know DM. I use DM too. You may be required to spend additional gold on resupplying. Okay, that makes sense. Want to do something not stated? Bold that. At your GM's discretion. Oh, you have GM here. Okay. Some tools may find themselves useful in situations not listed. Cool. Navigator tools, you have advantage on skills, on checks related to maps, navigation, avoiding natural hazards. That's cool. I like it. Once per long rest, you can, and I would capitalize the R in rest. I think that's what I do in. I think that's the custom. Once per long rest. You can plot a course. You can plot a course to half the travel time to one place you've been before. Once per long rest, it takes you half as long to travel to a place you've been before, is how I would phrase that. Alchemist supplies, you have advantage on checks to craft or identify potions, acid, and chemical compounds. Cool. Once per long rest, as an action, you can mix chemicals to create acid. Ooh, that's cool. It raises a lot of questions. Like the first question, well, I want to make a healing potion. How can I do that? And then what does acid do? And it would have to be something that scales across the level. You can't have like super OP acid at level 1 and then useless acid at level 20. So it might be like level D6 damage or something like that. Ooh, I'm starting to get hungry. I'm getting the dizzy hungers. Smoke in a 20-foot radius. That's cool. 20 space FT period. And I would just say within 20 feet is probably easier. Chef's utensils, because radius is unintuitive. So that's actually a 40-foot width. So 20-foot radius. So yeah. Chef's utensils, you have advantage on its checks for meals and drinks. If to determine if something is poisonous, harvest fauna and flora. Why would chef's tools do that? Maybe fauna, not flora. Once per long rest, you can spend 10 minutes to prepare a meal. That grants. That's cool. 10 minutes though. Oh no, it would take way longer than that. You could spend an hour or two, and then another hour cleaning up. So I like it. I'm not gonna read all of them, but cool ideas, like cool little features and things that you can get. I'd have to read through them to like balance them and stuff, but for like an expansion pack type of thing, yeah, cool, very cool ideas. I like it. Tusky, cool. Hi, Edward. Evan, do you know? Let's read. Edward headed out. See you, Edward. Luckily, but yeah, don't be late, man. Oh, it's not the latest version. I thought I grabbed the latest version. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't. That is cool. HTML, yeah. Phantasm. Okay. Home brewery. It's changed just at one point. Okay. Evan, do you know of any resources outside of Mouser and JP Cooper's postcard adventure that have similarly concise adventures, or does that not really exist outside of those? I think the guy Ben Milton who did Knave, he has there's a whole like OSR OSE kind of milieu of, I don't know if milieu is the right word, but like one-page adventures. I think his thing had like a bunch of one-page adventures when he did his Knave version 2. Let me see if I can find it. But you're much more likely to see those kinds of things the further away from 5e you get. So this isn't a one-page adventure, but this is, I've never played it, but I've heard good things. The Waking of Willoughby Hall. It's like a few pages. I don't know if this would be a one-shot or not, or like a 2 or 3 or 4 shot, but like it's like 30 pages. But it's not super intimidating. Let me see if does Maze Rats have Maze Rats? That's just a bunch of tables. I thought it came with a bunch of, hey Surge. I thought I had a bunch of adventures. I think it came with a bunch of different adventures. I think Shadow Dark has similarly brief adventures. I don't know if they're that brief. I've just not looked at them. Let me see. There's like this thing, the Dark Fort. I think this is Dark Fort. So Shadow Dark has some similar things. The Shadow Dark tends to be much more dungeon crawly than not. But I think Ben Milton has a bunch of one-page adventures. But if you just search like one-page adventures, there's like a bajillion of them. There's a bajillion of them, give or take. But once you start thinking that way, it's easy for you to like make your own one-page adventures. Like like once you figure out like 8 things, like roughly 8 encounters, like an obstacle, an NPC encounter, a combat, like roughly 8 of those, that's enough for a session. So once you start thinking like that, like you can just like how long would it take you to type up like this many words? Like not very long. Or just like if you're typing it up, you wouldn't even need that many words. It's just it's fairly trivial to do that kind of thing. Yeah, it takes a while to sort of get your brain wrapped around that, but is there time to fix the last 4 entries in the doc? 3 are typos, wording confusions. I've got 4 minutes until I have my meeting, but I might just pause the recording, and there were typos in the doc. There's no typos in my book. Where are the typos? Where are they? What resources are recommend for beginners to start studying up on game design? Play and read a lot of games. See what you like, see what you don't like. If you try to you run a game, you like, oh, this was the fun part, this is the not fun part. Like probably 90% of my ideas got junked. Ideas that I thought were great ideas. Where is it? Where are they? Red text, the big one. Increase it again. There it is. Shepherd, where are the notes though? All right, whoever this is, EMM. I'll click here. Go ahead, scroll to it and highlight it, and it'll help me. It'll let me scroll to higher. Where is it? Scroll to it, man. There it is. All right, I gotcha. We got there, everybody. How are we collecting notes and typos? So typos, it's it's okay. Typos, that'd be cool. Serge, if you write any one shots, let me know. I'll pay you for some. If I end up publishing them or something. I can send you some notes and like a framework to start thinking about it, and give you feedback if you want. Yeah, InDesign is super duper cool if you can lay it out. So I think for these adventures, I think the writers also did the art and the layout, and if you can do that, you can charge like 2 or 3 or 4 times as much than if you just do the writing. So writing, expect like roughly 10 cents per word, sometimes less, sometimes like 5 or 7 cents per word, sometimes more, like 15 cents per word. But expect roughly 10 cents per word if you know what you're doing. And then art, you can get paid a lot more. So you can double or triple or quadruple that rate if you can do the art as well as the layout. So I know Serge is definitely a fantastic artist. Can I get those notes? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, basically, I am like hoarding. I am hoarding one-shot adventures like a hoarder. I don't know. I don't have a better way. Yeah, so I might just put a bounty out. Anybody who can send me a good adventure that I'll use, like roughly 800 words using this and this and this, I'll pay you for it. So I might just do that. Breaking Design is definitely my next venture after finishing school. Cool. Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at that. I've got less than 1 minute, so I might just pause here. Because I have to hop into a meeting, but I'll plan on hopping back in after like 10 or 15 minutes after the meeting's over. Question: can radiant aura remove wounds? Yes. Prostitutional, if not to non-wound, yes. Radiant aura, I don't think there's any problem with that. All right, so I'm going to stop record. All right, so we're back. It was 11 minutes. It was 10 minutes, but I couldn't find the link to the meeting. So it took me a while to get into the meeting. Okay, yeah, so let me, if you guys just want to take a screenshot of, I'll have to find it later, maybe. Give me 1 second. I'm going to see if I can. Okay, so we've got the adventure framework opened. If anybody's interested in writing some adventures or getting used to it, I might be able to pay you to write some if it ends up being cool. I generally don't do spec work, but so if you're do it if you're just doing it for fun, okay? So do it if you're just doing it for fun, not expecting anything. But if I do like it, then I'd be happy to pay you for it and use it and stuff. But for when I'm paying a professional writer, I pay them ahead of time. So this is not like a spec work type of thing where I'm trying to get things for free. If you're doing it for fun already and you want to get some experience, then there you go. Okay, so there's actually two different ones. If you guys just want to take a screenshot of this, you definitely can. And I think I'm gonna take off my headphones. They're dying. All right, so you guys still you can still hear me, right? My poor headphones. So for the adventure, I'll zoom in just a smidge. So for the setting, there's like some setting specific things. So there's the Golden Company. And it's actually been tweaked just a little bit. So let's pull up. So as I've been developing it, it has been tweaked ever so slightly. Here it is. Okay, so this is temporary art, and I think I'll just cut it for now. I'll leave it as mess up. So there's the Golden Company, an order of soldiers and merchants dedicated to the protection and prosperity of Farhope, which is the big city. Why did my camera get all wompled? Face cam. Okay. What happened? I don't know what's going on, you guys. My computer's got ghosts. It says unstable. Oh, you don't see the. Oh yeah, you don't see the screen. Share screen. How do I share my screen? Sorry, guys. I've got like 50 windows open. Screens, entire screen. Bingo, bango. Okay, so now you guys can see. Sorry, everybody. Okay, so before we get into like what the adventure framework is, I'll just give a quick background on the factions. So I guess I should probably grab the map. I'll do that later. So the factions in the city, the setting are sort of like doing different things. So it's nice to have like these are the characters, the factions, the people, the players will already know. So if you can integrate it with the characters they already know, then it'll make it a little bit more fun. And like the factions, they sort of get along. They're not none of them are like evil, the good faction, the bad faction. They all have their pluses and minuses. So the Golden Company, an order of soldiers and merchants dedicated to the protection and prosperity of Farhope, or insert whatever city you want. They control much of the city's commerce and have significant influence over its governance. Blade Hall, their grand citadel, stands at the heart of the city, a symbol of power and strength where they offer protection and broker trade deals. The company has forged vital partnerships with the dwarves of the Ice Forge Mountains and maintains a crucial alliance with the Tower to safeguard the White Gate against the threats from the Shadow Blight. Newcomers to Farhope are granted leave by the company to explore all surrounding regions except the Shadow Blight, a place so perilous that even their noble mission may falter. Though their intentions are seen as being above reproach, their methods can sometimes be heavy-handed. So there's the leaders of the Golden Company, then we have the Tower, a powerful group of mages and spellcasters dedicated to the study of mysterious forces. They are obsessed with searching out truth and finding new applications for their magic. Their headquarters is a doorless and windowless, even though there's a window here, ignore that, ivory tower perched atop a cliff or overlooking the city. It is both a place of magical learning and a bastion of innovation. The tower seeks true understanding of the arcane and the mysteries of the world, but their hunger for knowledge can sometimes lead to dangerous experiments or the temptation toward dangerous bargains. We say dangerous twice. Temptation toward fell bargains in exchange for knowledge. Those who seem worthy of their trust may be hired for capturing magical creatures in the growling marshes, recovering lost spells in the withering sands, or arcane artifacts from the Elderwild. And then there's some different NPCs there. And then we have the Explorers Guild, the beating heart of Far Hope's adventuring spirit. The Explorers Guild drives expeditions into the wilderness in search of ancient ruins, lost civilizations, and untold riches. However, it also serves as a haven for smugglers and rogues, fostering an undercurrent of intrigue and shadowy dealings. The Guild Trove is a lively hub where adventurers of all stripes gather to share tales of their exploits, forge alliances, and acquire contracts that promise both danger and reward. In addition to legitimate quests, guild members often engage in the clandestine smuggling of precious crystals from the Skyreach Isles. Sought after for their unique magical properties, here secrets are currency, and the line between heroism and villainy often blurs. So each one's got a little bit of spice going on. Okay, so that's what's going on. Here's the adventure framework. So typically, so this is for like a one-shot adventure. Roughly 800 words. 800 words is like this much, like a spread. A little bit more, a little bit less might be okay, but that is like a good thing to shoot for. A cool and evocative name, like the Lost Mine of Fendelver. Like that's okay. It could be better. Like we could spice it up a little bit. What really happened, so there's adventure background for the GM of roughly 100 words. So, and I'll show you an example of this as well if you guys want to see an example. 3 adventure hooks. 3 adventure hooks. So, like, a villager asks them, a wealthy person is paying them, and then, like, they find out about it some other way, like that kind of thing. Like, different ways they can experience it, or different ways to get into it. 3 to 5 treasures, you could probably use fewer than that, but not all of them will be given or found. They're not necessarily, and actually preferably, these treasures should not be powerful magic items. They should be linked to another NPC or another adventure. You find a long lost crown of such and such. It's like valueless to you, but it's like priceless to someone else. Find that person. Like finding loot that leads to another quest is really cool. Simply worth gold, but dressed up. A perfectly cut emerald in a platinum setting is way more interesting than 50 gold pieces. You find 50 gold pieces. Boring. But you find like these cool earrings, this sweet necklace, this like awesome spooky skull that's carved out of like whatever. It's worth 50 gold pieces. Like people might just keep those things and often do. They'll just keep those things because those things are cool. A deed to a building or an area of land. You find like that. This is what this book, not King's Warfare, Strongholds and Followers. Part of the adventure is you go into this adventure, into this castle, and inside a treasure chest is the deed to this castle and the land that surrounds it. So like you find it, now the castle is yours. Like how cool is that? Something that's worth gold to a specific person, a necromancer, like the still beating heart of this creepy thing, a spy, like information, a goblin king, a potion master, an unfriendly guild. So worth a lot of money to one specific person. Like, do I want to sell it for 5,000 gold pieces? Yes. Do I want to sell it to the evil necromancer? Maybe not. So interesting choices. Deed to a building area of your land. Map leading to another adventure site or hidden treasure. It might be true, it might be decoy. Cumbersome loot. Worth a lot, but takes up extra inventory slots. That kind of thing is pretty cool. Sentimental things. Newly hatched baby chick that imprints on one of the heroes, or a letter between 2 NPCs. Like that kind of thing is really cool. Loot that gives information or lore, ways for the GM to reveal the backstory or other interesting info, quote unquote, in game. Those are really cool things to be able to do. Single or limited use items, spell scrolls or wands, that kind of thing, potions. Setting specific things, a goblin totem, a kobold trap, that kind of thing. Like I would never find this I would only ever find that in this adventure. The wing to the giant moth mother, whatever. Something really valuable, but with a drawback. An eldritch orb worth 10,000 gold to the right buyer, but if you take it or sell it to that person, it's going like you're making the new BBEG. That kind of thing could be sweet. Or the thing like the golden idol head from Indiana Jones. He takes it, and then the whole thing starts crashing down. Now, cool. So it should have travel or exploration events. So where you get the quest is probably not the location of the quest. So you're in town, you get the quest. You probably want to travel to the forest or to the desert or whatever. What happens on the way to the forest? What happens as you're getting, or even once you enter the desert? You're not immediately in the adventure site. You want some complications or interesting things that give you the flavor of traveling. Load-bearing loot? Yeah. So yeah, Indiana Jones picked up the little golden idol, and then like it was trapped, and like things start happening. So you can foreshadow a monster, you can get lost, you can overcome an obstacle. So for instance, one of the adventures has like a sandstorm, or this weird creepy thing that makes you get lost. So how do you deal with that? Adventure locations, a 6 to 10 room quote unquote dungeon. It might not be actually be a dungeon, and it typically won't actually be a dungeon. It'll be something else: a grove, a palace, ruins, a ravine, a cave, sewers, a hideout, whatever. And so this is going to be roughly 600 words. So this will be the bulk of the words. So following like the mouse. So Mouse Ritter does it pretty cool. Why did it do that? I don't know why it did that. So Mouse Ritter did it pretty cool to where so the front is this front, just cool art and a title, and the back has a summary and adventure hooks, and then the inside has it's a very OSR type of thing, like encounters, which I don't love, like 2d4 of this and 2d6 of that, and one like I don't love that, because if it's like 2d6, like 2 skeletons is a very different thing than like 12 skeletons, right? One might be boring, the other might be TPK territory. Why did this reset transform? Why did it do that? I don't know what's going on, you guys. And then on the inside, so there's some monsters. We're not including monsters, but the inside is this, right? So this is, I think that this is like roughly like 400 or 500 words. So 600 words, we have just a little bit more space to describe what's going on. Look, I like presenting the situation and then like giving the GM like 1 or 2 ideas about like what could happen, right? So the sandstorm is coming. There is like a dark rock covered in bugs that you could take shelter under, or there is this other thing that you brought shovels with you. Do you try to like shovel and like dig a little hole to hide in, like something like that? Like maybe not those exact things, but a sandstorm is coming. What do? You do see this, you do see that, or like maybe make some check. If you make a low check, you see this. If you make a higher check, you see these 3 things. That kind of thing. I don't have Venmo. Keep your money though. Keep your money. I appreciate it. Okay, so traveling encounters. Cool things to experience. Like I will not experience a sandstorm in the forest. Like I want to feel like I'm going there, and like rather than just like walking. Like we're in the town. We say, all right, well let's go off to the desert, and to the adventure spot. And then if you don't have any traveling or exploration events, then you just sort of say like, okay, well you're there. So you need something between like you get the quest and the just narrating, well now you're there. Adventure locations, so this is what we're talking about. Each room has to have a few words of descriptive text, maximum of 1 sentence. So let me show you one of the really good examples of what one writer, Jack Whale, did. So he took it. So this is the Beyond the Crimson Veil, a fiendish adventure for level 14th level heroes. And then you can actually use the monster builder charts to adjust the difficulty. So this is set for level 14, but you can downgrade the Glabrezus and the Fiends and different things to make it for level 10 or level 4 or whatever. Like if they just really want to go to like this spooky area, the Shadow Blight, they can. Like oh no, sorry, it's for level 14. You can adjust it fairly easily. So here's what's going on. We have some traveling encounters, and then here we have here. This is like the first room, a wall of scarlet fog that reaches to the sky above. So that is the. This is the just a few words of descriptive text, maximum of one sentence, maximum of one sentence. You don't want to like read aloud text. So let me just grab a book, Storm King's Thunder. So I'll just grab one of these books. I'll just open up until we get to some read aloud text. So that's conversation. Let's go to a dungeon. Let's find a dungeon. Yes, one doesn't actually have read aloud text. That one is like an older one. Let's go to Strixhaven. Strixhaven is a newer one. Okay, so shimmering lights and soft music drift across the Rose stage and the surrounding seating as well. As well-dressed students, professors, and alumni guests mingle. Behind the runway, student fashion designers, models, and their assistants buzz to and from backstage dressing rooms, making finishing touches before the show begins. So that's well written. But if I'm actually at a table and I'm trying to read that, like probably most of you like tuned out. Like probably most of you weren't really listening. But if there's just a very short sentence like this, if it's just a super short sentence, well, Scarlet Fog reaches to the sky above. Like I can either read that out loud or I can just like scan it really quickly. And put it in my own words. Like you guys are standing in front of this wall, this red cloud. Like even if I stumble and stutter and like my words aren't so elegantly well written, saying it in my own words is way more interesting at the table. So I would rather have someone deliver to me like a stuttering, stumbling speech that feels like it's off the top of their head, like something that's genuine and real, than like a smooth, well-rehearsed thing, but it's being read. Like something that is being read, like you can have something that is written like 10 out of 10, but if you're reading it, it feels like a 2 or 3 out of 10 a lot of times, unless you're like really good at reading. And even then, like you can sort of tell you're reading. But you can have something, you can be like a 3 or 4, a speaker, 3 or 4 out of 10. But if you're like looking at them and really talking to them and engaging with them, it feels way more interesting. So that's why the descriptive text needs to be that short. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so super short. Each room or area has 2 to 3 things to interact with, something to learn, etc. Bullet points, 30 to 80 words per room. Okay, so for instance, and I don't have the bullet points. So here's spirit vats. And this isn't finished, so it might change. So spirit vats. So this is probably a little bit too long. So this might be. So this would probably be like the next bullet point. So this is like still in layout and stuff. So untold number of souls screaming, smiling, moon bubbling, volts and constantly like ugh. 7 mad occultists, and anytime there's numbers, I would just have the numeral rather than the numbers. 7 mad cultists stir and mix these souls with enormous onyx ladles. The cultists attack intruders on sight and speak only in babbling tongues. Anything pushed into the vats takes a lot. So I asked these writers to not. Me, when I ask how tall the ceiling is, because I want to. Me trying to describe a random room, the players keep asking so many questions. Yeah, so if they ask a question about it, like how tall is the ceiling, then you can tell them. But if they don't care that, the cloud is reaching to the sky, like you don't need to say that. Like, how tall is it? Can I fly over it? No, it's reaching to the sky. So things that are nice and short are preferred. You give them the minimum amount of information, and then they will ask about the things that are interesting. There's like 2 or 3 things doing here. I think there's 2 or 3 things. So this would be bullet points. So this is happening, then that's happening. So recommended, not strictly linear. And this one has a layout. So it does have a layout. So like you can skip some of these rooms as well. So not strictly linear. Choices in which rooms to explore and in what order. Optional rooms, multiple entrances or secret passages are great. Different things you can include: a trap or obstacle. Heroes can take damage or get creative to overcome. It might be poisonous spores floating in the air. Are they dangerous to breathe in? Sticky or stinging webs, blades or saw traps, hidden or obvious traps. A pit. In general, it is better to have obvious traps because it's fun to figure out how to get around them or use them to your advantage. An obvious pit trap is way better than a pit trap that is hidden. Serge and Brandon are getting into it. So it's way more fun to see the trap and figure out how to overcome it than to just, all right, I go to the next door. Oh, sorry, you fell on a trap. So like the thing happening isn't the fun thing. The seeing the thing and it happening or not, and my having a choice about what to do with it is the fun part. So it can be hidden sometimes, but you should prefer obvious traps over it because it's fun to figure it out. Okay, precarious climbs, unstable walkways, flooded with liquid, murky water, acid, lava, fog, guards that can be defeated or bribed or tricked or allied with. Something might deal damage, it might not. It could simply be narrative consequences, like you breathe in the poisonous spores, but they only make you cough. But that alerts all of the people around you. Hey Emma, I'm having dinner already, man. I haven't even had breakfast yet. We're just going over the adventure framework. Foreshadowing. So a room could have foreshadowing. So these are all obstacles that you can figure out. A room could instead have foreshadowing or about the theme or direction of the adventure. Other adventurers already here. Are they dead? What kind of monsters there might be around? You might see huge claw marks or footprints in the mud, and then the hunter can feel smart about it, like, oh, I know what this footprint is. It's the footprint of a three-legged neat toad. And it has these attributes. So like, yeah, you can foreshadow cool things. Just like any scary movie, they never show the monster first. They show the effects of the monster. You could set up a mystery or provide a clue. So like there's a bunch of dead adventurers recently dead. What caused them? And they're dead, but there's no wounds, there's no blood, they're just dead. Like, ooh, I wonder what that could be. That foreshadows some cool stuff. A dying NPC, he could tell you some information, like, oh, watch out for the bowl of soup. Cracks in the walls or ceiling. So that's a big thing for the Nimble adventure. At the end of the level 3 adventure, the whole thing falls down, and the cracks in the walls and ceiling starts foreshadowing that. Hints about the next room. Okay, you see 2 doors. There is a scratching sound coming from the left door, and then there's strange lights coming from the other. Okay, it informs the people what to choose. What does the scratching sound like? Does it sound like a rat or like or like people? Like, give me more information. And so things that leads to them asking more questions. Large dead animal, broken wall, etc. What could have done this? What could have killed such a large animal? What could have broken this wall down? Obviously, combat encounters. A good adventure might have like 2 to 3 good-sized combat encounters. Maybe more, maybe less. Maybe 1, maybe 5. But a combat encounter. You shouldn't lean on them too hard. It shouldn't be all combat, but there should be some. What are the bad guys doing when the heroes come? They should not be simply standing around. A good adventure has the bad guys doing something, right? They're not just like video game NPCs, like standing there waiting for you to open the door, and then they start shooting, right? They might be waiting, if they're waiting, but they'll be waiting in ambush, right? They might be distracted, arguing, sleeping, or working. They're already fighting something else, and this is a really cool one. Do the heroes watch, or do they pick a side? When the battle gets tough, will they mindlessly fight to the bitter end, or will they call for aid? Will these bad guys run away to another room? So make complications. Treat these monsters or creatures as if they are real. Will they use the environment to their advantage? Climb up the rock face and start dropping rocks on the bad guys. Or on the heroes. Will they negotiate for their lives in exchange for information? Ooh, that's way better than just finding a journal that describes the situation, right? That's way better. Waiting to attack, but being held back by something. Like these creatures are afraid of the light. They don't like the bright light, and there's a torch in the room. And if you open the door, the torch goes out. Or if you touch the crystal that's lighting the room, the things can attack. You know, there's cool stuff like that in this adventure. It might be they're held by a spell or a cage or a wall of ice or fire. So they're ready to attack, but there's something holding them back, and maybe the adventurers have to deal with that thing first. NPCs. So a good adventure will have NPCs. Maybe they'll fight them, but maybe they'll rescue them or negotiate with them or bamboozle them, or they're from another region or for another quest. You rescue the prince from this, and all of a sudden you're in the middle of this quest, and he says, "Take me back to my home, and I'll reward you." And now you have a quest within the quest. So someone or something you can kidnap and ransom, right? Cool. You can pull shenanigans. Dilemmas. A treasure, but if it's taken, a trap or hazard is sprung. You know, think Indiana Jones. Take the jewel, and the light keeping the bad guys away ceases, freeing them to attack. So that's one of the rooms in this one. Something that is placed precariously somewhere. So like treasure wouldn't just be laying around. There has to if there is something valuable laying around, there's a reason why it's laying around. So a dungeon adventure has to make sense. If you take this path, you can't take the other path, so dilemmas. If you ally with this faction, you can't ally with that faction. Weird things, crystals that produce anti-light, mind-controlling fungus, walls made of hands, paintings with eyes that follow you, rooms with no sounds, a place where you can taste colors and feel smells. Like anytime you can have a twist or some weird shenanigans happening, I think that's that's a pretty cool situation. Is this kind of thing helpful? Going over like the adventure framework? Key locations, so culminating in a boss battle, likely of some sort, not always, but usually. A short 1 to 2 line evocative description, 3 bullet points of things to interact with, problem solved. Okay, so it's sort of just reiterating these things in different words. I'm getting a bunch of spam text right now. And here's another version. Problems or situations with no obvious solution the party can creatively solve. Something big to run from or defeat with exceptional tactical or social wit or cheating. You can always cheat. Something to fight. 3 to 5 fair combat encounters per adventure. An interesting place to explore. Secret entrances, spots to hide and sneak, places to gain the high ground, branching paths. It should ooze with flavor without being too wordy. Others to influence, traps, lore, or secrets they care about, secret passages, information, or maybe backstory questions. Ah, cool. Okay. So that is the adventure framework, you guys. That is the adventure framework. Okay, so let's take a look at. I think we were at the Oathbreaker, Oathsworn. I hope that was mind controlling fungus, getting flashbacks. Hope that was helpful. So actually, I might wrap this up now. I gotta eat. I'm starting to get a little bit of the hunger disease, if you know what I mean. Starting to get a little bit of hunger disease. So maybe we'll come back to this later, and I'll do a little bit more streaming later, maybe on YouTube. Okay, guys, I think we'll wrap it up there.